Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Calisar. Today we're going to be talking about Louis Mclane. This will be our last episode of this long-running series called Secretary of State. So next time we're going to be either going over the kings of the Joseon dynasty or some tech. I haven't decided quite yet. But either way, let's talk about Mr. Mclane. So he was Secretary of State from May 29th, 1833 to June 30th, 1834. This is what he looked like. And let's just look at that poof of hair there. Very nice. So we're going to talk about his background. And we're going to kind of merge it with his time as Secretary of State because there is some crossover. But just roll with it. So during the War of 1812, Mclane joined the Wilmington Artillery Company. He started off as a Federalist and then became a Democrat. He was elected to the House, then the Senate, and he tried unsuccessfully to win Delaware's electoral votes for Jackson. He resigned from the Senate on April 29, 1829. He had hopes of joining the Jackson administration at that point, but it did not happen. So, in October of 1829, he accepted an appointment as Envoy Extraordinary and Minister to the United Kingdom. And then Van Buren, yes, President Van Buren, convinced Jackson to appoint Mclane to Secretary of State. So, there we go. So he becomes Secretary of State, and just something that's really interesting is he supported the U.S. Bank and tried to work out a compromise that would get the president on board with the U.S. Bank. Now, remember at that time, we had a U.S. Bank as part of Hamilton's plan, and, well, Jackson was skeptical of it. I'd always heard that he outright opposed it, but other sources say that he was a little bit more lukewarm about it. So, at the end of the day, though, that failed when the U.S. Bank became a campaign issue for Henry Clay. Once Henry Clay and his American system were 100% behind it, Jackson's like, yeah, we can't support that. You gotta love how politics works, right? You support it, so the other team has to go, no, we can't support it. It is what it is. So either way, as you know, after that, we did not have a national bank until the Federal Reserve. So, here's what happened. Congress passed renewal of the bank, but Jackson vetoed it. And that just killed it. So, Mclane's downfall happened here. So Jackson wanted the French issue resolved quickly and asked Mclane to develop a hardline policy towards the French. Unbeknownst to Mclane, Van Buren went behind his back and convinced Jackson to give the French more time. Could you imagine that? Your good buddy says, yeah, Jackson, maybe we should just give them more time. And here you are thinking the entire time that everybody wants you to take a hardline stance, and no, it's not the case. Well, this ticked off Mclane, and yes, I know I capitalized the second, or capitalized the A. That's okay. Because he was furious. And we're exemplifying his fury with that A. We did it before, we're going to do it again. Well, he was furious, and he resigned. And that was it for his time as Secretary of State. Poor guy. Well, one thing I have learned through this series is it is hard being a Secretary of State. Really hard. From that first one all up to this one right here, it just seems like they always hit that brick wall, and it seems like most of them resign in frustration. So that's just so sad, especially early on. You think things are bad now, but the history always has its ups and downs, and being a Secretary of State is not an easy position. Well, I want to thank you for watching this episode. Please like, please subscribe, and our next episode will either be a history episode over the Joseon kings of South Korea, not just South Korea, Korea, or something on technology. I have not quite decided yet. So, you guys have a wonderful day.